But
Sure, and I think that's a fair point. The LCFF does set a much more consistent standard for defining who these students are. So our expectation would be that the Department of Education would build upon that sort of definition and require districts to link the dots and connect, explain how many of their students are participating in this program, and of those, how many qualify for those LCFF categories. We think that's something that can be done. That's just something that where the state needs to make that effort and give districts that specific guidance.
okay, Senator Hancock.
And actually, can I
Well,
just,
just to follow up on that,
Yeah,
how do we know how to allocate the LCFF funds if we don't have a uniform standard for telling who's low income, who's an English learner, and who's special ed?
The LCFF is a uniform standard. It's just not one that's ever been applied to this program and the categories that this program uses.
Okay, so it would be, and I'm not sure if the bill does that somewhere in it because there are many technical amendments, but that would be an easy thing to require, right? Using the definitions in LCAP that have to be reported if you want to collect your money. So that would seem simple enough to me to do. I'm supportive of continuing the program as well. I'm interested in the data, since I didn't have a chance to read the report that Senator Pan cited, which seemed to indicate that by and large, more affluent families moving their kids to more affluent districts.
That was data we looked at, and I should probably preface this a little bit by saying the data we have is all district level, so we don't know from which schools these students came. For example, we know that there were a few hundred students transferring from, say, the Los Angeles Unified School District. Well, they're a relatively low-income district overall, but they have schools that are all over the map, and so we don't know, are those students coming from low-income schools, from high-income schools? So that's one limitation of the data. I think that overall we found that about 27% of participating students were low-income. Beyond that, it seems to be a mix of students. It seems that we don't have a lot of hard data, but perhaps that other students would probably be more in the middle income range. Some more affluent families, although those families also have the option to just move to a district that has, that maybe is something that where they want to attend. Just talking to, I don't think we would see very many students leaving Beverly Hills or Palo Alto or something when we look at that kind of data. The parents are happy there. So this is more, probably most of these students, seems to us, probably be more in that middle income range.
In the middle income range. Because one of the things that was of interest to me is the business of improving local communication, or how parents are informed of the opportunity. Because in many ways, this is like charter school opportunity choice. And I have grandchildren who go to a very good charter school in Senator Monning's district, but I know that that it almost is like a little private school because of the choices that more affluent parents or parents who are tracking very closely their children's education make. And one of the things for me is how do we make sure all families know about the opportunities so they can put themselves in the lottery, if that's what it is. And I noticed that on page 6, Measure D wants to improve communications between districts, which I understand and support. But I do think we should look at the number of languages information about the program is in, and how we really make sure that all families have an equal opportunity to participate.
Senator Monning.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Appreciate Senator Huff's many years of work moving this forward and continuing to try to fine tune. Question for the LAO or perhaps the author. Excuse my ignorance. Can you just help me understand how the cap gets calculated? So a student leaves District A and is accepted in District B, that affects that percent cap for District A of a student transferring, correct? When does that get, when that student, in middle school, high school, when they finish the program, then does that slot return? How does it work?
That's a good question, and that was really at the heart of the court case back in 2009. The way it works mechanically under that interpretation is that a district takes its average enrollment over the past 2 years. So if a district had 10,000 students in year one, 10,000 in year two, 10,000 in year three, its average is 10,000. And 10% of that is the maximum number of students who are able to leave the district. So in this case, the 10% cap would be 1,000 students. Once 1,000 students have transferred out of that district, the district can say no more students can leave under this program. There's no crediting for a student who graduates or returns to the district or something. It's just once 10,000 transfers have occurred, that's the lifetime limit.
So it is for a lifetime. You don't track the students to affect that denominator, that numerator of the percentage.
That's right. Once the district hits the cap, that's really it for the program in that particular district.
Has there been any exploration of resetting that when a certain amount of time
That's what we did.
expires?
If I could answer that,
Yeah.
that's what we're trying to do here.
Yeah.
Because originally, when this legislation was first introduced in the 90s, that was the understanding, and that's the way it was implemented. It wasn't until it was litigated, courts not only went against the precedent, but against the letter to the journal that the authors had stating the intent, right? So now you have this lifetime cap. Once you reach it, you no longer allowing the opportunity for people that want to better their kids' education, to move. So that's what we're trying to address here. Make it what we call a rolling cap. So there's also a limitation on 3% of the students in any 1 year can come from a school. So it also limits incrementally. So you're not going to get 10% in 1 year, and then you got this little sort of hole moving through the, the cohort of students. So it'd limit that with a cap at 10%.
And just final question on is there a cap on a receiving district, how many students they can accept?
I believe, and the LAO can clarify I'm wrong, but they declare how many spaces they have open. And then if those who want to come in exceed it, that's when it's driven to a lottery where, and it's, through the years we've clarified, has to be publicly noticed, has to be publicly attended, so there's no nefarious, drawing the ones you want out of the hat, so to speak.
Right, and that's also where the communication issue comes, of
Correct.
all families being made aware of it. Okay, that's helpful to a point. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Senator Huff, there were also two other recommendations that the staff has made to your bill on page 6. They're technical amendments.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
Comprehensive evaluation
One having to do with a comprehensive evaluation
and just consistency and reporting.
and just consistency in reporting.
Yeah, they're fine.
They're fine. Okay, Senator Pan.
Apologize, but so I just want to be very clear about the commitment to the 10% cap. I understand rolling cap, but that and 5-year.
Right.
So are those being accepted by the author? Or are you committed to take those amendments?
I would like to have a quick discussion on this. So the legislative analyst raised something I hadn't contemplated before when he made the comment that in the past we've had the evaluation tied to the sunset, right? So it creates a real panic among the schools who are going to lose this and they don't even know what the report says. So maybe I can offer a suggestion that we have a report within 5 years, lack a sunset, and then that gives the legislature the opportunity to then move a bill to sunset it based on data, and that gives a timeline for the schools to work with, or to tweak it, because right now it's a hit or miss, or,
Or within 5 and a sunset at 7.
yeah, and that could be another way to look at it, because that would give 2 years then to adjust and work on the solution. So it is problematic to have both the report and the axe hanging over your neck at the same time,
Okay.
and it runs the risk of disrupting a lot of students.
Okay, so we will have a report in 5.
We can do it however we want to write it. I would suggest that a report in
then-
5,
and a
sunset in
sunset
7, absent an extension.
Get a report in 3 and a sunset.
So
I mean, it's a 22-year program, so it's not that we're starting from scratch.
I think the LAO had commented that it needed 5 years to get good data, if I remember hearing that correctly.
Our sense is that we've probably done as much as we can with the data that's available now, and I think in 3 years, I'm not sure we'd have much more to offer you than what we have on the table today.
So given the new LCFF, I mean, we now have definitions LCFF, which has been in place, which is already in place, that we wouldn't be able to get 3 years of data. I think that would be meaningful. This is a 22-year program, so we're not like launching a program, and then you need a couple years for implementation, and then you collect data because it's not mature yet. We're talking about essentially a program that's been in existence. The LSCFF parameters are already set, so you don't have to change, you don't have to get those definitions developed. I would suspect you should be able to get if you started data collection today, we'd get 3 years of meaningful data, right? And a report, it's supposed it comes out, you take a year to write it, it comes out in year 4, and then we can figure out, I mean, I don't think anyone's looking at trying to end the program. I think people are looking at making adjustments to it. I don't hear people saying, we don't want the program. What I hear is that we want data to be sure we can make the appropriate adjustments if necessary to be sure all the children are served. Is that, I mean, that's...
Sure, and I guess I would go back to it all depends on kind of what you would like out of the evaluation. If it's just a simple sort of,
Well, I think it's looking for some of the information that you weren't able to collect before. I think it would be helpful, probably continuing some of the collection you've done before, looking at the proportion of low income. I don't think we're looking at a entirely, brand new evaluation in the sense that there are some missing pieces in your evaluation we'd like to see filled in, which we heard that we now have parameters that will allow you to do that in place. So we're not having to build that from scratch. That sounds, so, okay. So I would.
You're going to push 3 years.
I'm going to push, sunset in 5. We asked the LAO give us a report in 4, with data for first three years going forward. Yeah.
Okay, all right, because the amendment right now is 5 years for the evaluation report, and so, and the sunset. So, and you're suggesting 4 years for the report and
Yeah.
5 years for the sunset?
Correct, yeah. With, assuming the report will have 3 years of data in there. So we understand it takes you some time to write the report.
Senator Huff?
I just want to know if the LAO thinks they can get good data in that time frame, because superintendents will have to assume new role. They've got to ramp up and realign some of the data they're collecting with what we're doing with LCFF. So just knowing the wheels of government don't always move as quickly as we would all like. You think that works okay?
I think, I appreciate the question. I think we would want to hear a commitment from the state superintendent about, because this bill would task them with collecting it, and so we'd have to have a commitment from them that they could collect it on the time frame that.
You depend upon the superintendent, the SBI, for your information?
This bill would set up that structure, yeah.
That wasn't meant to be facetious, but okay, all right. So we think we can accomplish this in the 4-year, 5-year timeframe?
We would have at least a few years of data at that point that we could present, so that if that's what you're looking for, I think we can do
Yes,
that.
I'm looking for a yes. Okay, so Senator Huff, let's review the amendments here, the recommendations. We're reauthorizing for 5 years.
5 years.
The comprehensive evaluation in 4 years. There is some technical amendments pursuing who's doing reporting entities on page 6, item B, that the reinstatement of the 10-year rolling cap. And is there anything else that I've forgotten? No. Okay, I think that's it. Okay?
With those amendments, I would ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, sir. Closing remarks? That's it? Somebody move the
I
bill?
just wanted to say, I agree with Senator Monning. You've been working on this for a long time, Senator Huff, and that's good, because it helps us fine-tune this.
Thank you. The bill has been moved as amended.
Yes. This is item 9, SB 1432. Do pass as amended to appropriations. Lou? Aye. Lou, aye. Block? Aye. Block, aye. Hancock? Aye. Hancock, aye. Huff? Aye. Huff, aye. Leyva? Mendoza? Monning? Aye. Monning, aye. Pan? Aye. Pan, aye. Vidak? Aye. Vidak, aye. That's 7.
7 votes. The bill is out. We'll keep the roll open for our absent members. Thank you. Senator Block, you have 3 bills before us. Item 5, 6, and 10. Why don't we wait about 2 seconds here to let the room clear a little bit. Item 5, SB 1359, Public Post-Secondary Education Textbooks. Wow, he cleared the room.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to begin by clearly accepting the committee's recommended amendments on pages 4 and 5 of the analysis. I'd also like to thank committee staff for their help with this bill. This bill, SB 1359, would require California's colleges and universities to clearly and explicitly identify the estimated total costs of required textbooks and other educational materials for each course offered. High textbook costs are a reality in California and across the nation. The College Board estimates that students at any type of public institution spend about $1,300 on books and supplies per year. For California community college students, textbooks and materials cost nearly as much as a student's full-time tuition. The Federal Higher Education Opportunity Act required that all colleges and universities publish a list of required textbooks for each course, and in the course online schedule have retail prices. My legislation builds on the federal law by requiring clear and explicit disclosure of the estimated total costs of new textbooks and materials, and that be posted in printed and online schedules of classes for each course prior to every academic term. SB 1359 will help to provide students with information that will allow them to make informed class choices. And consequently, we'll have a follow-up event. It will push colleges to be more transparent and also motivate professors to use online educational resources when available for their classes. The bill has received no formal opposition. I look forward to working with all the stakeholders as we move through the legislative process, and I ask for an aye vote.
Thank you. Anyone in support of SB 1359?
You want me to go up?
Support? Are we all tweeners or support?
Support in concept. Addie Myers on behalf of the California Association of College Stores. We generally support the author's intent here. Bookstores already provide this information at the CSU, UC, and community college level as required under federal law. Each institution provides online class schedules with a link to the most current and accurate information on required and recommended course materials, as well as low-cost alternatives like used, rental textbooks, and even OER materials. The link is permitted under federal law to provide students with the best and most accurate information about cost options. So we just want to make sure that this bill accurately reflects the intent of the federal law, and we look forward to working with the author as this bill moves forward to iron out some of those details. Thanks.
Good morning. My name is Meredith Turner, and I'm here representing Cal State University students. Our student leaders have yet to take a position on this bill. However, I can say that textbook affordability and transparency around textbook costs have been and continue to be a priority to students. And I will say that I think there's a difference between providing a link that a student can sort of meander through to try and find costs associated with the textbooks versus when you're looking to enroll in a class and it actually lists, French 100, textbook materials, $75. Making it as easy and clear for students, I think, is always a good idea. So we appreciate Senator Block's work on this issue and look forward to continuing to work with you.
Hi, Hi, good morning. Lizette Everett with Community College League of California. Also, similar position. We don't have an official position on this bill yet, but we appreciate the direction that it is taking and support efforts to create more affordability and transparency. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, members, Jeff Frost, represent the Association of American Publishers. We don't oppose the bill. We're sort of in a neutral position. We met with the senator's staff yesterday and raised a particular concern that I wanted to raise with the committee. Senator Block referenced online or digital materials. The industry is moving aggressively into digital formats. In part, that is designed around flexibility of purchases. You know, when I was in college and you had a $200 science book and you would use 2 chapters out of that, you know, that's sort of an annoying purchase staff to make as a student. The flexible part of the digital materials is they can be sold by chapter, by page, by almost anything. And so when you're talking about the total cost of a purchase that would go into the course catalog, this creates something of a difficult thing to catalog because the instructor himself or herself may not be asking for the entirety of the material to be purchased by the students. So I think you just need to consider that as you go. Thank you very much.
Andrew Martinez, California State University System. We too do not have a position on the measure. We'd like to work with the author as the bill moves forward. We've been a leader on affordability on this issue, on open educational resources, on rentals, on digitals, and we'd like to continue the conversation with you in the future.
Any opposition? Question from members?
I would move the bill. I think it's a good bill. Transparency always helps.
Dr. Closer?
Just in responding, excuse me, to Mr. Frost, who spoke on behalf of the publishers, ideally, as we fine-tune this bill as it moves along, we would like to have it that if a professor is only using a part of the bill for his or her class, or part of a book or text, that the cost of that part would be what would appear for students, again, to make very transparent to them what the true cost of the course would be. And with that, I ask for your aye vote.
Call the roll.
This is item number 5, SB 1359.
And it is as amended, right?
Yes.
Yes.
The motion is do pass as amended to appropriations. Lou? Block?
Aye.
Block I. Hancock?
Aye.
Hancock I. Huff? Leyva? Mendoza? Monning?
Aye.
Monning I. Pan?
Aye.
Pan I. Vidak?
Aye.
Vidak I. That's 5. We'll keep it open.
We'll keep it open for absent members.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right, SB 1412.